So I had a client call me last week. She owns a condo in Mississauga and she's been thinking about upgrading to a detached. And she said something that kind of stuck with me. She said, Mahmoud, my neighbor just listed and nobody came to the open house. 6 months ago, that place would have had multiple offers. What's going on? And honestly, I told her, what's going on is that the GTA market is in the middle of a shift that most people don't fully understand yet. Not a crash, not a boom, a shift. And the biggest driver of that shift right now, the thing beneath all of it, is what Canada just did to its immigration system. So today, I want to break that down for you in plain language. What changed, what it means for your rent, your home value, and your next purchase. And maybe more importantly, what the smart play is right now if you are in this market. By the way, if you haven't watched part 1 yet, I'll start there. That one covered the full immigration debate, why Canada needs more immigrants, the pros, the cons, all the data. The link is in the description. I'll put it on the screen right now. This video picks up where that one left off. So it'll make a lot more sense if you have seen it. Go watch it, come back, and let's get into the GTA stuff. So here's a 30-second version of what happened. Canada ran immigration very hard from 2021 to 24. Almost 500,000 permanent residents a year. Millions more on temporary permits. The infrastructure couldn't keep up and Canadians pushed back hard. So the government pulled the lever. New targets, 380,000 permanent residents a year. Temporary residents arrivals cut by over 500,000. International students down 60%. Work permits in early 25 down 51% year over year. Population growth in Canada in 26 is projected to be essentially flat, zero. That's the macro picture. Now let's talk about what actually does to the streets you and I live on. Let's start with rentals, because this is where the change is most visible right now. So rent growth is cooling. TD Economics is projecting increases of around 3 to 3.5% in 26. Compare that to 24, when we were seeing increases of 6, 7, and sometimes even 8% in the parts of West End. So if you're renting right now, yes, there is relief this year. But here's what I want you to understand about that relief. It's borrowed time. When rent growth slows, developers do the math and they pause new rental projects. Why build 200 units if the numbers don't pencil out at lower rents? So the supply that we desperately need, the new rental stock that should be coming online in 27, 28, a lot of that is getting quietly shelved right now. And when the market tightens again, and based on the demographic data, it will, you're going to have even less supply than before. So if you are a renter thinking about buying, the window you have right now where you're paying less in rent and there's less competition for purchases, that window is not permanent. Use it. So when people say cut immigration to fix housing, the logic sounds simple. Fewer people means less demand. But there is another side. Immigrants are also part of the workforce building these homes. In Ontario, immigrants make up roughly 27% of the construction workforce, including about 23% of general contractors and builders, 16% of electricians, and 50% of carpenters. So yes, reducing immigration could reduce housing demand as well. But it can also reduce the labor pool available to build housing. So Ontario already needs more skilled trades workers to meet future construction demand. Now, this doesn't mean immigration is the answer to Canada's housing problem. It means the equation is much more complicated than fewer immigrants, cheaper houses. Because ultimately, we have to look at both sides of the equation. How many people need homes and how quickly we can actually build them. And this is where Canada's real housing challenge begins. Alright, let's talk about what this means if you're buying or thinking about buying in the GTA right now. Short term, right now, today, the market has shifted in your favor in ways I haven't seen in a while. Here's what I'm seeing on the ground. Mississauga condo segment softened significantly. Oversupply from investor units hitting the market simultaneously. Markham and Richmond Hill detached market still relatively firm. Family demand is sticky in these corridors. Oakville King holding up exceptionally well. Limited supply and affluent buyer demand are keeping prices resilient. Stouffville, Georgina, more affordable alternatives are attracting family buyers, helping these markets outperform much of the GTA. Scarborough and the east of GTA seeing the most price flexibility, historically undervalued relative to West End. Long-term fundamentals are strong in these areas. Aurora, Uxbridge, prices under pressure. Higher price points and a smaller buyer pool are forcing sellers to adjust expectations. Vaughan is one of the weaker market in GTA right now, and high carrying costs and elevated prices are making buyers increasingly selective. Now, here's what the data says about the medium term, and this is where I want you to really pay attention. RBC Economics is projecting what they call peak aging, the point where boomer retirements hit maximum velocity. Right now, around 2028 to 32, around 5 to 6 years from now. At that point, the labor shortage comes back hard. Canada needs more workers again, immigration targets go back up, and when those people land in the GTA, they need somewhere to stay. And if we haven't built enough housing during this quieter period, and right now it's looking like we haven't, the demand surge hits a constrained supply. You know what that does to prices. So the buyers who position themselves now during this window, they're not just buying a home, they're buying before the next leg up. For investors, and I know a lot of you watching are either in the market or thinking about getting in, let me give you the specific pattern I'd be watching. Indian Canadian households, and I'm being specific here because the data is specific, are disproportionately home ownership oriented. This is a culture that prioritizes owning. Multi-generation households, parents helping kids buy, and communities that concentrate in certain corridors and drive demand in those areas for decades. Even at the reduced 2026 immigration targets, Canada is still receiving close to 100,000 permanent residents from India annually. The majority land in the GTA, the majority intend to own within 5 to 7 years. And here's a pattern I tell investors to watch. 3 to 7 years, typical timeline from arrival to first home purchase for economic class immigrants. The rent to buyer pipeline. They arrive, they rent in within the GTA, they get their credentials recognized, their income normalizes, and then they buy. If you own a rental property in those corridors right now, you're sitting at the front of that pipeline. The communities that are generating the most public frustration about immigration are often the same communities generating the most reliable long-term real estate fundamentals. High population density, strong cultural infrastructure, groceries, stores, schools, restaurants, multi-generational households supporting larger home purchases. That's not a hunch, that's what price appreciation data in the GTA over the last 15 years shows. Look, if any of this is making you think about your own situation, whether you're renting and wondering if now's the time, or you have got a property and you're trying to figure out the next move, that's a conversation I have with people every single week. Book a call through the link in my description. No pitch, just a real conversation about your specific situation in the GTA. So let me give you the practical version of all of this. If you're a renter thinking about buying, the competition is lower, the timelines are longer, sellers are more negotiable. That's the market right now. If you have been waiting for breathing room, you have it. Don't wait for perfect. If you're a seller, price it right from day one. The days of listing high and waiting for somewhere to blink are over in most segments right now. The buyers who are in the market are informed and patient. Respect that. Now, if you're an investor, look at the corridors where newcomer communities are concentrated and growing. Think 5 to 10 years, not 5 to 10 months. The demographic pipeline doesn't care about short-term news cycles. And if you're just watching and trying to figure out when to make a move, the data says the window is now. Not because the market is about to explode. It isn't. Because the next surge, when it comes, will catch a lot of people off guard. So back to my client in Mississauga, the one whose neighbor couldn't get anyone to an open house. So I told her, what you're seeing right now isn't the market breaking down, it's the market pausing. Taking a breath after very few intense years. And in that pause, if you know what to look for, there are real opportunities. The immigration policy shift is real, the cooling is real, but so is the demographic math. Underneath all of it, 9 million Canadians hitting retirement age by 2030. A fertility rate that can replace their workforce. A rate that needs people to function. The GTA doesn't stop being the GTA because of a policy change. It adapts. It always has. The question is whether you adapt with it or watch from the sidelines while others do. If this gave you a clear picture of what's happening in your market, share with someone who needs to hear it and go watch part 1 if you haven't already. Link is in the description. That one covers the full immigration picture. This video is the GTA real estate layer on top of it. And if you want to sit down and map out what this actually means for your situation specifically, book a call. I'm Mohammed Naqvi with Royal LePage Vision Realty. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.